Hello everyone and welcome to LSI F1 World Championship. We're today for the Belgian Grand Prix round 15 out of 16, the penultimate round of the season. It's been a heck of a season. We had a very incredible start. Of course, 6 winners in 6 races. That is an Aston round, but yeah, 6 winners in 6 races. It's dropped off a little bit towards the end. Unfortunately, the game had its issues, and obviously the drivers then lose motivation. But we still had some incredibly good races. Like last time, of course, at Austria, we only had 8 drivers, but we had an epic race. One of the best we've had this season. So we can definitely have that today. And yeah, this guy, post-race, didn't win the championship in the end. Currently sits himself on pole position by a nice little margin, though. Now, looking at the situation, he hasn't won the championship today? Last week, sorry, but I think he's going to win it today. Now, I don't exactly know, so we'll just have to take it as any other normal race. But of course, next week, when we get into the final race at Great Britain, we will go and have a look at the championship and congratulate him, of course, for good. That is an AlphaTauri off, unfortunately. I think that was Nifo going for their second run, but they made another mistake, and that's going to be them having to go into the pit lane. That's one thing around this circuit, of course. The second run, you have to not go for a second run, but it's quicker to go for a second run than it is to stay out, do an outlap, or do an outlap, in-lap. And you know what I mean. In-lap, outlap, whatever you're going to do first or second. It's such a long lap. It's around about 2 minutes on an in-lap and an out-lap. And of course, it's then 1 minute 40 for an actual lap. So it's really costly in time. And you only get 2, maybe 3 shots, depending on how you plan everything out. But you've really got to get there out on track as soon as you possibly can. I believe EgaPro's just on a warm down lap. They are saving a bit of ERS, so they might be going again, or they're just going to go into the pit lane and come back out again in a little while. They got the car up ahead. They're moving out the way. Lovely stuff. Now, we have Zingy leading. Now, I think he might have dropped down to P3. Nifo taking the win for Austria, if I remember correctly. I'm not entirely sure, but looking at the grid, I think that is the situation. But I'm not quite sure. I'm not quite sure. Yeah, I don't quite know. Quibus is, of course, back once again. The reserve driver today for Haas, as they usually are. Their teammate is meant to be racing. Unfortunately, they haven't joined the grid, which is a little bit unfortunate, but it is what it is. So we are supposed to be having 8 drivers, but we've only got 7 at the moment. Regardless, we can still have a great race, of course. Now, Dave Raptors is also reserving today. Those are our 2 reserve drivers. Let's see what they can do. I do want to double check something, so I do apologise for the delay. We should be good to go very shortly. Alrighty. I think that's all good. So, we've got a couple cars returning back to the circuit. That's Kaspersky. No, Kaspersky is on a lap right now. Let's see what they can do. Can they try and challenge for pole position? Unfortunately, they didn't get a lap in on their first run, and they just got so close to the track limits right there. They're going to have to go for a bit of a lap here and then go again in order to get just something on the board, of course. I don't know. They are running out of time. They might want to go in, come back out one final time, and then have 2 runs. Because I don't know. If they do a lap here, and then want to come in, I don't know if they'll have enough time to go back out. They should do, in theory. But they're leaving it a bit tight now they make these mistakes. They've got to be careful. Kaspersky has had some experience at this track recently, they say. So they feel confident and they can do well. But qualifying, they still need to get it sorted. It looks like they are going to go in and just get the fresher tyres ready for the final stages of the session. We got Cisco about to start their lap. Now, looking back to the last race we had at Belgium, we had a very intense one, of course, with Philemon and Zingy for the championship fight. It was towards the end of the season as well. We had Brody, of course, recently joining the league at that time as well. And we had both Igor and Cisco in their Astons fighting hard, and they were side by side to the line at the end of that race, I remember. So maybe we can have some good racing again this time. There's going to be no wet conditions, there's going to be no damp track or whatever as we had before. So it's kind of a different situation, but we can still have now DRS that's going to give us some very, very good battles. Cisco currently sits in P2. This is the track that he actually got his first win at, or was it pole position? I think it was win. Either way, he was very, very quick around here. It might have been a first win, it might have been a first pole position. But that was in the 21 game, this is in the 22 game. And maybe we can see the Astons do well today. Again, of course, Igor got a podium in the sprint race at Austria. Unfortunately, the feature race didn't go quite to plan. Now, around this circuit, you've got a long, long lap to go through. And, of course, there aren't too many drivers in the lobby, so the chance of a safety car is pretty low. And if there is a mistake, you only get 22 laps in this race, so you don't exactly have that much long, or too long, to improve up the order. Although, of course, the lap takes longer, you in theory have a similar amount of time to improve, but, you know, lap-wise, you don't have as many to catch up. You need to have, the margins will be bigger around this circuit, so you need to gain a significant amount if you want to improve. Thank you very much for that one. Cisco comes around the final corner. What's it going to be? It's going to be a 43.3, and Niffa retires at the hairpin. Retires at the hairpin, interesting. Thank you very much for letting us know that's covered up. Nothing to see, actually, in the end, but that is Niffa retiring at the hairpin. So 5, 6, 7, 8. Turn 8 on the exit. That is an interesting place to crash. Now, I've kind of forgotten what that corner is. Is it Ravage? Is it Ravage? I don't know, we're going through Lacombe here. I don't know. I forget them every time. I learn them, I forget them. I'm so bad at memory. Zingy going for a pole position of 42.8. Is this going to be the time to beat 5 tenths ahead of Quibus, who's gone and done a 43.3, very, very close to Cisco. Then we got a little bit further behind with Eager Pro in P4, Dave Raptors in P5. They're in F1, they're driving, well, they're F1.5 reserve, of course, as well, but they're driving in F1, they're not used to no traction control. So that is an explanation for Dave Raptor's situation. You can still have a great race, though, I'm sure. Castle Sky still in the pit lane, waiting for the timer a little bit. Maybe they want to go out and do 2 runs. Maybe they're just going to go and do one final safe run and try and secure a grid position. Of course, they'll still start in P7 if they don't set a lap time. Just want to clarify that one there. But Zingy currently sits himself in P1. Will he go again, or is this going to be the last time he's set a lap time? I don't know. He, in theory, hasn't enough time to go again, but I don't know if he would want to use the tyres to go again. This is, as you see, lap 3, his 3rd lap of the session. That's Robbo joining. They will be allowed to join, I will say, so they can race with us as well. Good to see them in. But yeah, Zingy, I want to just double check. Is he going into the pit lane? Is he not going into the pit lane? What will he decide to do? He's going into the pit lane. Now, the question is he going to retire when he gets to the pit lane? Or is he going to go out again? We got Castle Sky on a warm-up lap. So we're going to watch on board with them, get ready for their lap while we see if Zingy is going to retire or go out one more time. I don't quite know. Strategy-wise, should be a pretty straightforward medium hard. It's just you're going to have to be really careful how you drive this circuit, because very, very high-speed corners means if you make a mistake, your tyres are going to be very, very warm for a long period of time. That was a wheel in the barrier, as that is Nifo's front wheel, I'm going to assume. I don't know which one it was, but front wheel in the wall, and it's not despawned. It won't cause any problems for the drivers, except from a little bit of a visual infringement, but other than that, it's not too much of a worry. We'll watch on board with Castle Sky to have a look at a lap guide around Belgium, and then we'll see what happens. And he's fitted on a fresh set of soft tyres, so it does look like he is going to go and attempt one final lap, and it looks like everybody else is just waiting for that right moment. Robbo, of course, joining late. He's going to have to wait for that right moment as well. Castle Sky is about to start a lap, and we will watch on board. Round the final corner, opening up the corner into fourth gear, smooth on the throttle, get the traction down. DRS available as you head to the source, and brake as hard as you can. Turn in a little bit later. Be careful of that curb on the inside. Point the car to the exit curb, but don't go onto it. Just about avoid it, because it can lose you a lot of traction. Now up to Overage, of course, move to the left-hand side, really tight to the right-hand side. And to the left-hand side again, very self-explanatory. DRS available, keep it right, minimise the track distance. Now you go down to turn 5. The run is very, very long, so you've got to make sure that you get over Rouge and Radio very, very done very, very well. There you go. Just about now we come into the long hairpin trail, breaking through. Brake a little bit earlier so you can get the car turned. Otherwise, you're going to end up understeering and losing a lot of time. Lovely stuff, trying to use all the track that they possibly can to gain any extra time as much as possible. Through turns 10 and 11, sending it through, dab on the brakes, a downshift as well to try and allow the car to kind of break itself down, I guess you could say. Not riding the inside curb there, just in case of the over-rotation as well. They choose not to ride the second one. I think you normally would ride the second one, but they choose not to. They do need to get a safe lap in right now, Castle Sky, because at the moment they don't have anything. Now, down through Blanchimont. A long, long, long way to go through here, and then we'll get to the bus stop chicane for the final time to end their lap, of course. Into the braking zone. Let's see how they do it. They're going to lock up. There's a bit of a bump that can be very distracting. Sacrifice the first corner for the second one. Straighten up the car. Across the line. DRS available. What's it going to be? It is going to be a P4, a 43.4 there. They're not going to get another lap in. So that is going to be Capital Sky done for the session. Just going to do one final in lap, and that will be that, of course. We've got to Zingy, who is on an outlap here. Who else do we have on track right now? Is this Cisco? No, that's EagerPro, who's a little bit further up right now. They're in P5 as they've just been pushed down by Castle Sky, so they're going to try and look at an improvement. Now, looking at this circuit, as he makes a mistake. As I was just going to say, the setup difference can be very different if people run race setups or qualifying setups. So you've got to consider that for this race, of course, because there's such a high-speed circuit with all the straights that you do kind of need to have a bit of a compromise if you want to do well in the race. And EagerPro may be finding that, of course, because they lose the car. As the car reaches its own limit, Robbo will not set a lap this session. They're just going to leave it as it is. We have Cisco on a lap right now, going to try and push themselves at least ahead of Quibus. The margins are very small between these guys. He's immediately going to be behind Cisco to try and improve himself and push Cisco back down. Will anybody be able to challenge Zingy here? He's 5 tenths ahead. 5 tenths ahead of both Quibus and Cisco. Capital Sky will not get another lap in. EagerPro also not. And Dave Raptors is a little further down the order. So Cisco and Quibus are the only ones that can challenge. EagerPro is going to give his teammate a bit of slipstream. Very, very nicely planned there for EagerPro. Going to give him a very, very distant time. Moves to the inside line. Lets Cisco go through. Lovely stuff. That's going to gain him some extra time across the line. What's it going to be? A bit of a moment on the exit, but still. And it is going to be a 43.282. So there's not much of an improvement. Is it enough to stay ahead of Quibus? Oh, it is. It is. Quibus makes a mistake on the final corner. What a shame. Zingy will not need to worry. He's got no front wing as he pushed a little bit too hard on his quali lap. But it doesn't matter. He's on pole position regardless. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant job for him there. Well done to Zingy. He is pole position once again. Starts the race on the front row in arguably one of the worst positions. P2 is probably the most beneficial, but you still need to get a good start. We'll have to see how it goes. Zingy takes pole position, Cisco in P2, and then Quibus in P3. That's the rest of the grid. We're going to skim through the race director, and then we'll be back for the race. We'll see you in a bit. Ready? Hold. Go! Who's gonna get it into turn one? Zingy gets away well. Is Cisco gonna be able to challenge? No! What a start there for Zingy. Cisco right behind his teammates side by side. Quibus goes off the circuit. The Red Bull has to take a little bit of avoiding action. I don't know if that's actually a bit of a separate incident, but brilliant start there for Zingy. Everybody else is slotting in behind pretty close together, but will Cisco be able to get the run? Phenomenal, phenomenal slipstream right here. They're gonna go to the inside line. Zingy didn't expect that one. Side by side, Zingy's now got the straight line speed, and Cisco does lose it to a bit of wind resistance. The switchback is available to the Mercedes, but no! Oh, there's contact as Zingy's off the circuit. I don't believe it. They just about kept it in a straight line. There's damage for Cisco, and that is absolutely catastrophic. I do not believe it. And that is Egapro leading the Belgian Grand Prix. We got Quibus in P2, Nifajan in P3, up to P3 after not setting a lap in qualifying. A brilliant start for them. Kaspersky sits in P4 after all of that. So I don't know what happened there, if there was contact that caused Cisco to lose the car, or if they just lost the car. Naturally, I don't know. But that is Cisco at the end losing a bit of front wing, and they're going to have to go into the pit lane and probably set a medium tire on us. That's unfortunately Robbo losing it. No one will be affected there, but that is pretty much the opening lap done. Will Quibus want to go for a move right now? I don't quite know if they will be able to challenge right here. It's probably not worth it, of course. They're sat in P2, the most superior position on the grid. If they can get the DRS, that will help them massively, but Nifo is right there, as that's Cisco making a mistake on the exit. That exit corner is absolutely amazing. It's impossible to get right, as that's Nifo going to the outside line, swooping it round as Cisco leaves the space. Are they really going to go side by side up a Rouge? I don't quite know. No, Nifo is going to slot in behind, but he's going to be so quick right here, being very close to the slipstream. And is he going to go for the double maneuver here? Cisco is going to have a look at the Haas. The Haas is possibly going to lose the position. Nifo's going to have the back off, but that is Cisco once again. Not Cisco, that's Egapro go for the lead, but he lags back. He lags back and he's going to have to give it in, as that's all Nifo ghosting through. Egapro keeps lagging here back as what we saw in Austria, and Casper Sky is now going to have to try and find a way through. So this is going to have to be investigated with the lag. It's pretty unfortunate. That is a yellow, as that is a Robbo or Zingy making a mistake. A virtual safety car is deployed. That's going to allow Cisco and Zingy himself, of course, to warm up their tyres, and I don't know who had that issue there. If Robbo had the issue, do they have damage on their car? They do. So it's Robbo that's brought out that VSC. Unfortunately, the top 5 are sticking together, but Robbo's made that mistake. That's going to allow Zingy and Cisco to warm up their tyres and then get back into this race sooner. But yeah, EgaPro, unfortunately, losing a position to lag there. So now they're stuck in P3, which is not as bad as P1, I guess, but it's still not ideal, of course, because you can't get the full advantage of the DRS. Now, Nifo has to secure a good restart from the VSC, otherwise they're going to lose the DRS. Oh, and that is Egapro going for the move already! How about that? I do not believe it. Going for the move already, goes off the car. Oh, no, goes off the circuit! And that's Nifo getting a bit of contact there round. Quibus leads the way by 1.9 seconds. Casper Sky into P2, Dave Raptor into B4. Egapro manages to hold on to the podium position right now, but DRS is not available for anyone right now except from Dave Raptors, who might have a chance, but no, that Egapro breaking away before the DRS is even available. How about that? I did not expect that in at all. And Egapro loses the car on the curb, and Nifo has paid the price. I do not believe it. Everybody is all over the place with this situation. Dave Raptors does their best to try and catch back up to Egapro. They've still got the rest of the lap to try and get back into the DRS and fight with that Aston. Is it going to be possible? That is now, of course, Quibus leading the way, and Casper Sky sits himself in P2. He still needs that DRS. Quibus seems like they're pushing to try and get away. Casper Sky needs to try and get that DRS sooner rather than later, because it will allow them to relax on the ERS, of course. But Quibus has to make sure, if they are pushing, that they manage it, of course. Manage it, because that is going to be crucial. Once you get a car right behind you in that DRS, managing is going to be absolutely crucial and impossible to figure out, because the DRS on the Kemmel Straight is so powerful. A purple middle sector there for Casper Sky. So quick through that middle sector. 2 tenths. Can he get it to 1 tenth into the bus stop? Yes, he can. Very momentarily. It's at the top end of the 1 tenth range. He's got a couple more corners to try and get a good exit and get the DRS back onto the Kemmel Straight. We haven't actually run DRS yet, of course, because not only the virtual safety car, but we're only on lap 4 right now. So DRS, is it available this time? I think it might be. It was blocked over by the fastest lap attempts. Is he going to get it? No. Quibus is escaping just enough to prevent them from getting it. Will they be able to get the second run? That is the question. I don't quite know. But yeah, that is absolutely incredible right there. Quibus leads the way. Nifo sits behind these two right now as Dave Raptors is going to go for the move up ahead. As you can see, that Aston goes slightly defensive, but Dave Raptors still goes to the inside line as he breaks a little bit earlier, loses the car. Eager Pro is lagging all over the place, and Nifo gets the double maneuver, takes advantage of that one, and that is brilliant there for Nifo. Spotted it well. Dave Raptors does gain the position on the Aston, but loses it immediately to the Alpha Tauri. So Eager Pro having some interesting situations at the moment. We will have a quick look at the tyres right now. And that is, yeah, okay, the top 4, all on that hard tyre. Eager Pro opted for that medium tyre, so unfortunately this lag stuff is not helping them take advantage of this medium tyre. So yeah, not ideal, but I guess it is what it is. Now, I think the mediums will go about 10 laps. I don't know if they'll go any further than that. It's such a long lap that the tyres don't really go that far into the race. The hard tyres are going to be going at least, I'm going to say 12 laps, maybe 13, 14. I don't quite know what they want to do. The one stop is the better strategy. Robbo, however, and maybe Cisco and Zingy as well is going to have to take a double stop because they've already had that pit stop because of the lap 1 dramas. Now, Casper Sky does get the DRS. They're not going to be able to make a move, but this is progress and it will allow them to catch up. You can see as they go up the hill, the dust is spat out the back of the cars. They bottom out. Such a different feature that you have in the new game. You really hit that floor hard in the 2022 game, and it can cause you problems, but these guys so far have dealt with it very, very nicely. Now, Casper Sky is going to have a first look at taking the lead of the race when we get to lap 6. Would they want to go for it, or are they just going to try and work together with Quibus to try and get a bit of a gap over Nifo to 5.3 seconds? Let's watch on board and see. Is Nifo catching up to Casper Sky or not? We don't quite know. We'll have to wait and see, of course, as we go through the lap. A 5.1 second gap at the moment. Let's see how it changes further into this race. Eager Pro is nice and close to the back of Dave Raptors, as they say, have a little bit of an understeering moment, but nothing too much to worry about because you've got the lovely straights. That's a yellow for Robbo, who's finding the limits of these tyres, unfortunately, and finding the limits is Dave Raptors off the throttle, and that is the no traction control that they're trying to learn, taking advantage right there, and it's a shame, but yeah, Dave Raptors still doing their best and doing a very good job for someone that's not used to no traction control. So Dave Raptors making that mistake. The battle is now over. Eager Pro is immediately ahead. Back to this one though. Casper Sky going to have a look at the lead of the race. Is he going to go for it this time? I think he might have a look. No, maybe not. 8/10 is actually quite a significant gap unless he can get a really good run up the hill. I don't know. Now, I am wondering, are these guys going to be lifting up the hill, the low downforce, the heavy fuel, and maybe later on the heavy tyre wear? Will they be lifting? I think they possibly will. Now, Nifo does catch, but by a very small margin, losing it up the hill as, of course, the DRS and the slipstream gains them so much time. 2-3 tenths, maybe. It might get to 3 tenths. No, just about holding on is Nifo. So he's catching throughout the lap, but that DRS does lose him a bit of time. So he can still catch up, he can still gain a lot of time, and Nifo might be able to get into this battle later on, but he's probably going to have to gain a bit more time than that if he does want to challenge. Quibus doing everything that they need to lead this race, and when it gets to the important part of the race, the DRS at the Camel Straight, he's way too far ahead for Casper Sky to challenge. Now, if he can keep doing that sustainably, then Casper Sky won't be able to make an overtake, and he would probably have to use a bit more energy to try and make a move. So that could be an extreme advantage, only if Quibus can manage this sustainably, of course, because if he can't, that will allow Casper Sky to drain him out and then go for the move very, very easily. But if he can drain Capital Sky out on the flip side, then he will be able to keep him at bay and maybe later on escape. Maybe even in the pit lane, they might be able to escape. Nifo catches a lovely amount on that lap. Let's watch it go back to a 5-second gap though as these guys get the DRS. This time, Casper Sky is marginally closer, but still not enough to make an overtake. Casper Sky, this isn't the worst idea for them, because they can kind of just forget about using ERS on this straight. They can save it a little bit, but also they can focus on escaping that time needed from Nifo to try and save them losing a position later on into this race. Now, it really depends on what happens with the strategies. I reckon Nifo's going to have to try something a little bit different, of course, because they want to try their best to get the advantage. That was actually Zingy going for a move on Dave Raptors, and not really too much fighting there for Dave Raptors. Zingy's got that DRS, he had the advantage, and he is through. He also has the better tyres at this stage of the race. Now, Zingy is really taking advantage of the softer tyre with the extra grip that he has, but he's gonna have to make another pit stop. The advantage that he does have, though, is he can go for a second medium tyre, because he already started on that hard tyre. Cisco, Robbo, they'll be able to do that as well, whereas Dave Raptors and also Egapro won't. Egapro is going to have to go for that hard tyre later on, so they're going to look at the undercut, whereas the top three and Dave Raptors are all going to have to go just onto that medium tyre. So in theory, of course, Dave Raptors is on the same strategy as Zingy. In theory, a similar strategy, because that second pit stop is both going to be on that medium tyre. But time will tell to see if it's really a problem. Looking at a problem for Capital Sky here, 9/10, gains it back here before the DRS straight. Looking a little bit worried there with Capital Sky. 9/10 could have been a bit of a crucial turning point. They catch up, you see Kriva's car sparking away, but way too far to be pressured into any kind of defensive manoeuvre. Bit of a moment on entry as they have to make a correction as they turn in. That allows Capital Sky to gain quite a significant amount of time, 4/10 right behind. But will Capital Sky be able to hold on to that advantage or not? I do not know. And Nifo makes a mistake, unfortunately, after catching so much. They are making amazing progress, and they'll be able to challenge later on into this race. But that's now an 8.5 second gap that they're going to have to hope that Capital Sky and Quibus fight a little bit if they want to catch up. Their tyres are going to be very hot, so they've got to be careful with them at the moment, but they can still get back into this race. They haven't got damage. The strategy is still fine. 8.3 seconds isn't something that you can't recover from. So Nifo can still get back onto this one, of course. Bit of a mistake there, but they just need to try and focus on these tyres. Now you look at this, 6/10 is the gap. No DRS right here, so it's just pure straight line speed and a little bit of slipstream as he's that close enough to get that. As you can see around this circuit, 6/10 on the clock isn't that big, but distance-wise, because this track is so long, it's a little bit further away than you perhaps would find at track at like Austria. Unless I'm just completely waffling there. Maybe I'm wrong. That theory might be completely out the window. I don't quite know. Capital Sky closes up nicely, but as soon as they get to the exit of turn 1, they lose it immediately. So Quibus is very strong in the Sector 1 part of this race, of course. Maybe the bus stop chicane and the addition of La Source just helps them significantly. They're able to get on the traction. That's Robert making another mistake, unfortunately, at turn 14. But hopefully they can just try and get some good data right now. Maybe get back into this later on. Another mistake as their tyres are a little bit hot. So they just need to calm down, let the tyres cool down, because at the moment, if they push, they keep trying to push, it's just never going to work. Capital Sky, 6/10 behind. They need to focus on that first sector. That's Dave Raptors unfortunately making a mistake that allows Cisco to make that move, and it's going to be extra point right there. Capital Sky needs to secure this first sector. He'll gain a bit of time, of course, in the final sector as he has before. But it's not where his worry is. Actually, very, very close to the 8/10. Now goes to the 8/10. Is Quibus trying to push a little bit here? If he can get further away on this straight, then maybe he'll just about do enough to pull away as they get to turn 1, of course. We'll have to wait and see. 7/10, 8/10, as he's very, very strong. Back to 7/10 does Kaspersky make it. And now 8/10 at the very end. It's kind of moving up and down a little bit. Now, on the exit of turn 1, this time Kaspersky, I was going to say, gets a good run. They're closer than they've ever been, so maybe Quibus wasn't as strong as before on the exit there. Turn 1 could be a little bit of a problem right here now from this point onwards. Lap 10 out of 21, 22. The medium tyres might consider making a pit stop very shortly, but these guys have still got a fair bit to go. And this is crucial. Now, the pit stop situation, as well for the hard tyres, is going to be at some point soon. Kaspersky now wants to have a look at making the move. And if you can be ahead before you get to the pit stops, 1, you will be able to gain a bit of time. And 2, you can, of course, react. You're the one to choose if you're going to go into the pit lane or not reacting to the car ahead. 4/10 is the gap. Could Kaspersky make a move this lap, really pushing the limits on those curbs right there? Is Quibus, and Kaspersky tries to follow him, of course. We saw him not do that, not use them in qualifying, but in the race he is finding a little bit more, as that's a wobble there for the Haas. But nothing too much to worry about. This time, though, it's around about 5/10 difference between these guys. So they've got a bit of an interesting situation on their hands. Kaspersky might have a look here, and Quibus is going to get their first major pressure of the race. Look how close he is right now, and a lovely tail whip on the exit. That's not what he wants, but it's a little bit of style points at least. Looking from the back of the Haas, Kaspersky is right there, needs to secure a good exit. Another wobble as Quibus tries to get their best on the throttle. 4/10, this is closer than ever, and this will be their first major opportunity, Kaspersky, to make this move. Catching. DRS available. Surely he's going to push for it. This is first chance, and it will be a great chance to get ahead for the pit stops. He's not catching that much. Goes defensive, does Quibus, and Kaspersky is going to have to back off, and that is brilliant driving there for Quibus. He holds on, and he takes the racing line. Brilliant stuff. Kaspersky gave it their best shot, but still, their first opportunity right there. The pressure is on for Quibus. Nifo catching up to these guys. Zingy has actually caught up to Egapro here. This could change a little bit. Both of these guys are on similar strategies. And who's going to go for the undercut? Zingy is very, very quick and goes to the inside line as he notices Egapro makes a bit of a mistake. Isn't able to get the advantage, but forces Egapro to an awkward line. Is he going to get the run to turn 10? He won't. He's just going to have to hold off, but still putting that pressure on and causing Igor to really think about things here. Zingy will probably have a look at Blanchimont, maybe into the bus stop chicane if he doesn't get it there. But yeah, very, very quick as this guy. He has a bit of an advantage, of course, with the tyres, 1 lap fresher tyres, but still pushing like a madman and really gaining a lot of time at this stage of the race. He's very, very close to the back of the Aston. Is he going to push for the move early now, or is he just going to wait another lag spike? And that is Egapro losing the position anyway. That is very, very scary, and luckily no one's got the damage. Egapro's going to try and go back for the move to the outside line, and and that is Zingy once again, as we saw in Austria, having a bit of a moment in the braking zone. Not what they want to be doing. That could be a bit costly. Zingy into the pit lane, but Kaspersky also into the pit lane onto that medium tyre. Zingy's going to copy the P2 runner, and Kaspersky is looking at the undercut here. This could be a very good idea right now. Will Quibus pit on the next lap, or is he going to decide to go a little bit later on? Going to just try and wait for it a little bit more and get a significant overcut, which will give him a big benefit on tyre advantage later on into this race. But one thing we should consider is I don't think the soft tyres are a good idea. That's because the tyres would probably get so hot unless you have a strategy that, or a setup I should say, that caters for a soft tyre. And the strategy, of course, you're going to be doing about 4 laps on the soft tyres until they die off. Would you go for that soft tyre? And would it be enough of an advantage to get back on the undercut that Castle Sky will have right now? On that medium tyre, Nifo is going to be trying to bang the laps in, push. He might want to go for that soft tyre, of course, because he's got a fair gap now, and only about 10 laps to go, more or less, until we get to the end. That is Quibus going into the pit lane, reacting immediately, doesn't want to risk any kind of gamble on the strategy, wants to get straight behind Casper Sky. Nifo also going to do the same, so no one's going to that soft tyre, no one's taking any kind of gamble at this stage. These guys right now are securing some good positions. 11.4 seconds is the gap between Zingy and Castle Sky. Doesn't look too easy for those guys to catch back up. But the question is, will Castle Sky be able to get ahead of Quibus or not? Actually, Nifo is very close on the pit exit. Has Castle Sky made a mistake, I guess? He must have. Have I missed something here? I have to have missed something here. Before the pit stop, I guess Casper Sky's made a mistake, and now Nifo is absolutely loving this. Quibus even more so. He's leading the race by 6 seconds. Nifo is very quick though. He can still catch up, and Quibus can't afford to get a time penalty, because if Nifo can show this pace consistently and maybe even better on the medium tyres than they were on the hard tyres, they could be in big trouble. And we know Nifo's so good in second phases of races, so this is going to be an interesting one. Don't count Nifo out just yet. Cisco tries to get back to the DRS of Zingia. They might have had the DRS before, but now they don't anyway. So they held on for as long as they possibly could. They don't have to go for another pit stop anyway. Zingy, however, he doesn't need to either. So that's the way the strategy goes, unfortunately. And it is what it is. The bottom runners look like they might be in a bit of a deciding position. Casper Sky right now, he had the warmer tyres. He was able to catch up a little bit to Nifo, but no DRS at the moment, and it's still a whole second pretty much until he is able to get a DRS range. So, not ideal. At the moment, Nifo has got no pressure from behind. As long as they don't make a mistake, they've got no pressure from behind. And Quibus, up ahead, that they are gaining on a fair amount. They still need to gain quite a bit in order to be able to challenge towards the later stages of this race. But we could still see a double Dutch battle up ahead. And maybe if Casper Sky can hold on to these guys, maybe if these guys fight a little bit later on, he can slow the... Nifo can slow Quibus down as they battle, and maybe Casper Sky can get into this battle. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see, of course, how it goes. I want to mention track limits right now. I just want to pay a little bit of attention to the track limits. Now, around this circuit, as you can see, the curbs are pretty low down for certain parts of the circuit, and some curbs you can ride, some curbs you can't. So the ones that are slippy and very chunky, you're not going to be able to get a warning, but there are many curbs that you can go just a little bit over the limit and get yourself a warning, such as turn 10, of course, if you push it just a little bit too hard, either with the tyre wear kicking in or the weight of the car at the start of the race kicking in, of course. I don't know if any of these guys have got warnings. Of course, Robbo does have that 3 seconds as he pushes his hardest to try and just test the limits of the car. But, yeah, track limits are a pretty tricky situation right now around this circuit. 9/10 faster than their best lap goes Nifo. So these medium tyres are absolutely incredible. 5.8 seconds, however, he hasn't gained as much as I thought he would on this lap to Quibus. He gained a lot on the lap before, gains about a tenth overall in the bus stop chicane, but still, he needs to find a bit more time here. 5.6, 5.4 now, 5.5 on exit, so very, very good in entry to the corners. Loses a little bit on the exits, but catches it back up immediately. So he is gaining time. Let's watch on board and see. 5.4 seconds. Is he gaining on the straights, or is he not as quick in the straight line? I'm going to say he's probably about equal to Quibus. They're very, very quick compared to Kaspersky, as Kaspersky unfortunately is losing positions here, or losing time, I should say. A bit of a mistake there for Nifo, which is going to allow Quibus to relax a little bit, but like 15 out of 22, the pressure is getting a little bit harder here for Nifo, and Quibus is only going to have a bit of an easier life, of course. The DRS will help him massively. Slipstream. What am I talking about? DRS and slipstream? No. The gap is what I'm trying to say. The gap will help him massively because he can realise he's got a 5-second gap. He doesn't need to push. He can just keep a moderate pace and secure position. But it's not over yet, as that is actually now Nifo gaining about, I'm going to say 5 tenths here. If he can keep this 0.9 seconds, he's going to gain 5 tenths on this lap. And that would be more or less enough to try and catch up to the car ahead and push. Now, once again, as I was saying, with the gap that Quibus has, he wouldn't need to push, so he's not going to need to worry about track limits, he's not going to need to worry about spinning, but also he wouldn't need to worry about spamming any ERS. And the advantage that he has there is, even if Nifo gets to that DRS, he'll have a lot of battery to use later on to defend from Nifo. And as we saw with Quibus and Kaspersky fighting earlier on, Quibus is very, very good at using the ERS to secure the defensive maneuver in a way, I guess, to not allow Kaspersky to get close and make any kind of move. Is that going to be a safety car as Robert makes a mistake on the exit of a turn 6 onto 7? It's not going to be a safety car, remarkably. Not going to be a safety car. Is that to the left-hand side? That is a hefty, hefty collision as they lose the car. But yeah, no safety car is deployed. That now does make it a little bit frustrating for everybody else. But very, very good news for Quibus right there. Very, very good news for Quibus, because he doesn't need to worry about losing the gap that he's rightfully earned himself at the moment. But Nifo is gaining a significant amount right now, and this guy, he does need to find a little bit more time. But as I said, that ERS management is going to be very, very superior to Quibus. He doesn't need to worry at this stage, and he will have a great opportunity at defending the position. But gaining a significant amount of time is Nifojan. He's now on 4.3 seconds. He was on about 4.0 just a minute ago, but seemed to lose a little bit. As it seems like Quibus is very, very good in that first sector. Once again, I will say it. And maybe just superior into the bus stop chicane, at least on exit. And exit of turn 1 as well. Very, very good on exit of turn 1. Nifo, however, on the exit of turn 1, they're even better as they go 3.8 now. So they are absolutely rapid. At this stage, 7 tenths away from a 3-second margin. Quibus cannot afford to get a time penalty. Otherwise, that would be a position to Nifo. So Quibus looking at a win here. Can they get the advantage? I don't quite know. We'll have to wait and see. I'm trying to remember. Has Quibus won a race this season? I don't think they have. I think they got very, very close on multiple occasions, but they've just about missed out. Earlier on this season, of course, their teammate got one dream at Canada. They got a race win there. But Quibus, I don't think we've seen it. We haven't seen them win a race. Zingy won quite a few in a row. And then Quibus, of course, did step back for a while. They're back today, and they're looking at a win. But Nifo is looking for their 3rd win this season, if possible. Will Nifo be able to challenge? I don't quite know. Their form recently at the later parts of this season has been absolutely incredible, but little too late for the championship. Although, Zingy, yeah, he is in P4, but Nifo's going to get a nice amount of points. I'm going to have to double check things for later on, of course, to check if Nifo is still actually in the championship battle. Regardless, this is going to be a very, very nice motivation, and his form, like I said, is absolutely amazing right now. He's very hard on himself, and he'll say that it's not good form, but it is very, very good right now. 3.4 seconds. This time doesn't gain as much as we've seen before. So this lap not as strong as before, but still he can have a nice advantage as Zingy's pushing the track limit significantly. That's his second 3 second within a very, very short space of time at the moment. Quibus, 3.2 seconds. Once again, they've got to be really careful on track limits, otherwise that will give Nifa a bit of an advantage, as that's Kaspersky unfortunately making a mistake, and that could potentially mean that they're going to be threatened by Zingy, but with a 6-second time penalty that Zingy now has, I don't know if that's actually going to be a worry to him. Kaspersky is going to have to spend a bit of time letting those tyres cool down, of course, so Zingy might be able to catch up. But still, a 6-second is very, very big, especially around this circuit. And I say especially around this circuit, it's not as effective around this circuit, but it's still a very big time penalty, and it'll be a nice advantage for Kaspersky. Nifijan almost getting that 3-second range. The likelihood of them catching up to make a move on track is a little bit slim right now, because they haven't gained as much on that last lap, and this lap they've gained a bit more. Depends on the exit right here. They lose it. They lose it. They were on 2.9 there, but they've lost it on the exit. Now to turn 1, they can get it back, I'm sure, but a bit of understeers. They try and brake as late as they possibly can. They've missed the apex, and they've lost the car. They've lost the car. I don't believe it. They've kept it out of the wall remarkably. Very, very good car control. I guess you could say just about manages to save it, but that was a scary moment, and they've lost an entire second, and they're going to lose even more to the run to Lacombe. That is absolutely incredible car control. That was a very, very lucky situation there for Nifo. He does lose a little bit more time, of course, needs to try and get himself back together, but lap 19 out of 22, making that mistake is very costly, and now the pressure is pretty much no longer on Quibus, unless Nifo goes a bit of demon time and absolutely bangs in the laps here and catches up. I don't quite know. Quibus has all the cards in his hand at the moment, and he doesn't need to worry too much. Of course, he had to try and push a little bit harder to prevent Nifo from getting too close for comfort, of course, but now with that mistake, all of a sudden sees a bit of a 9/10 buffer that he had before to give him an advantage. Still not over yet. Don't count Nifo out of this one. We've still got a fair way to go until things change. Zingy, 2.1 seconds away from Kaspersky. They were catching. Now they've lost a bit of time on equal tyres. Zingy is not enjoying this circuit today. 3.7 seconds is the gap. Nifo is catching back significantly. He is absolutely rapid. Is it enough though? I don't quite know. We've got 3 laps remaining of this race for them to catch. In theory, they're going to be close enough for time penalty range, but other than that, doesn't look very, very likely. Quibus could still make a mistake. I hope they don't for their sake, because it would be awesome to see them take their first win. And it's what we want to see, of course, because they've become so close in recent times, and unfortunately it's just not quite been there for them. We want to see Nifo get another win, because his form's been absolutely incredible. Despite a couple of mistakes, he's been pushing so hard, and yeah, it's I don't know. The amount of effort that he puts in, he does deserve a good result. But Quibus, their drive today, they deserve a good result as well. So either driver, whoever wins this race, is going to be a well-deserved winner. Indeed, indeed, there's always a reason for a spin regardless. Even if it's an accident, there is a reason for it. Sometimes it's just fate. Sometimes it's to warm up the tyres. That is Dave Raptors making a mistake on the exit of the bus stop chicane. But they're still in this one. Good to see. Now, 3.2 seconds is the gap. Once again, Nifo is just trying to secure that 3-second time penalty range, which they can very well do so. But at the moment, Quibus doesn't have any time penalties. And lap 21 out of 22, they haven't got long until the end of this race, and that makes it incredibly easy for them, of course, because they don't need to risk anything. A 3-second gap is still big enough for them to take it easy. So they don't need to push. They do not need to push. Leading this way, Nifo trying to catch up another moment into turn 6, on the exit of turn 6, really, as they do lose a little bit of time, but gains it back immediately. Very, very strong through the mid part of this circuit, and he is now within 2 seconds. And Zingy DNFs on the exit. I don't believe it. There's going to be no safety car, but he exits the race on the exit at turn 6. I do not believe it. Zingy does not like this circuit at all. That is absolutely devastating there for the championship leader. Ah, what a shame. That's no points. I say that, no, he will score points. He'll score 7 place points because he has, in theory, completed enough of this race. That 21 out of 22, he is still going to score points, Zingy, but that's not what he wanted to see. That is such a shame for Zingy there. It allows Cisco and EagaPro to get some extra points on the board, so that's brilliant for them. But what a shame there for Zingy. The race has gone from bad to worse. But looking at this, as we're on the final lap, Nifo 2.7 seconds behind. He's going to be within the 3-second time penalty range. Quibus has to just make sure that he doesn't do anything too crazy. We'll watch on board to ensure he does that. We've got our best wishes with him right now. I was going to say prayers, but I couldn't find the word in time. Let's see. Quibus into Lacombe. Just needs to keep it smooth, and he's doing that right now. 2.9 seconds rapid on the Kemmel Straight, as we saw earlier on in the race. He's absolutely legendary in that first sector, but the second and third sector, Nifo is even stronger. Doesn't really matter at this stage, just needs to keep it tidy and he'll be good to go. Quibus is loving this right now, and they're going to look for their first win in LSI. It's taken a long time, but they've done a brilliant job today. And it's very, very, very well deserved. Nifo trying their best to catch up. I don't think it's going to be enough unless there's a mistake in the final sector of this race. But once again, no need to risk anything right here. Looking in a brilliant position is Quibus. It looks like it's all over. Quibus has got the final few corners to go in this race. What a race from both for the top two. Absolutely incredible. But this guy is on top. Wow, that is incredible. Quibus is going to win their first race in LSI. They come around the final corner. Quibus wins the Belgian Grand Prix. How about that? And Nifo will take the P2 to a 2.5 second gap there. Brilliant stuff. That is an absolutely incredible drive from him as well. It doesn't look it with a 2.5 second gap, but from what they had earlier on in this race, it is a very, very good job. Kaspersky takes a lovely podium, and Cisco taking strong points for Aston Martin. EagaPro will, of course, take that P5, and Dave Raptors is going to go and take a P6 in the end. Very, very good stuff. Such a shame for EagaPro, of course. They've actually got damage, but having issues pretty early on, and of course with the lag as well. But this guy is the driver of the day. Brilliant job. Brilliant job from both of these guys. Incredible. Well done to Quibus. That is a lovely, lovely win. Awesome. Awesome stuff. I know there's Nifo taking driver of the day. I think that's very well deserved. I think both of the top two should take it equally. That was a great, great drive. And there he is, taking the top step of the podium for the first time ever. And that is Quibus winning. Quibus takes the win. Nifo in P2. Then we got Sky in P3. Cisco, Eager Pro, Dave, Raptors, Zingy getting fastest lap and Clasters finished. And then DNFing was Robbo. This is the race director, just in case we need to check it out a little bit later on. And this is the pit stops as well. We'll see you in a bit for the post-race interviews. Hello everyone and welcome back to the LSI F1 Championship. We're here for the post-race interviews of the Belgian Grand Prix. Even though we didn't have many overtakes, that was still pretty intense. This guy that we're about to interview now got a brilliant start. Unfortunately, at the beginning as well, had some issues. So I guess you could say it was a brilliant start, but also a bad start at the same time. Cisco, so much potential on the opening corners, but unfortunately, issue at the beginning which took it all away. Can you take us through that race?
Well, thanks to Iger, I was starting from P2 because he gave me a tow in qualifying, so I got the P2, which really helped me because I got a good run from turn 1 and managed to overtake Zingy into the first chicane. And then we were alongside, I was on the inside, and he turned into me from the outside, which was unfortunate, and it spun me out, and a car behind hit me and destroyed my wing, so I needed to pit and had to make an extra pit stop.
Yeah. I mean, it's really annoying, and then pretty much from then on, especially around Belgium, it kind of takes you out of contention for anything else. Still, getting to the end of the race and taking 12 points isn't too bad, but it's not what you wanted. You're very quick around Belgium, I have to say. It's just a shame that it went that way. But yeah, great pace, great attempt at least while it lasted, and hopefully maybe we can see you do well another time. Now, Great Britain, do you like that circuit? Is it a good circuit for you? I guess it's not as good as Belgium, or do you prefer it over Belgium? I don't know.
Well, I like the circuit, it's quite fun. It's actually pretty similar to Belgium, with the fast corners, and I think it should be fun.
Yeah, awesome. Hopefully you get some better luck there. Yeah, I don't really know what to say. It's just such a shame. So much potential, and it just didn't go to plan. Yeah, really unfortunate. One last question. How would you describe your race in 3 words?
A lot of pushing.
Thank you very much. We'll see you next time. Well done today.
Thank you, see ya.
And that's been it for the post-race interviews. Thank you very much for watching. It's been a pleasure. We will see you next week for the Great British Grand Prix, the finale of Season 9. We'll see you tomorrow for the Belgian Grand Prix for the F1.5 Championships. We'll also see you on Tuesday for round 2 of the winter season. Although there will not be a stream for it. It will still go ahead, but there just won't be a stream for it. Other than that, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure, and good night. Bye-bye.